On today's show, the Cavs win game 3, and they're back in the series. We're going to talk about everything from Friday night in Indiana right here on this edition of Locked On Cavs.
You are Locked On Cavs, your daily Cleveland Cavaliers podcast.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? My name is Danny Cunningham. You might know me from my time covering the Cleveland Cavaliers, places like my Substack, The Inside Shot, Cleveland Magazine, 92.3 The Fan, and a number of other stops along the way. I want to say thank you to you for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. You can find the show anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Be a friend. Tell a friend about Locked On Cavs. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure a friend is subscribed as well. And if you're watching the show on YouTube right now, you can see I am feet on the floor at Gamebridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. And what you also need to do is hit that thumbs up button, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell as we get started here. Proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Cavs get a 126-104 win over the Indiana Pacers on Friday night in Game 3 series. 2 games to Indiana, 1 game to the Cavs. And I think that the Cavs should feel much, much better about themselves after this game. It's very easy to say that after the team wins a game. Obviously, you don't necessarily think the team is going to feel great about themselves after a loss, particularly one that happens in which the fashion Game 2 did with that Tyrese Haliburton game winner with under 2 seconds left. But I thought this was a pretty dominant effort by the Cavs. And the thing I think that might be the most encouraging, and we're going to talk about Evan Mobley coming back. We're going to talk about Darius Garland coming back. We're going to talk about DeAndre Hunter coming back. We're going to get to all that. One of the things that I think is most encouraging about this is the Cavs still, I don't think, played all that well. The Cavs played better. They did some really good things. I think there are some really good things to talk about defensively. I thought Donovan Mitchell was a superstar in every sense of the word once again, which he has been, I think, throughout this series. I thought they rebounded the basketball exceptionally well, but the Cavs have another level to get to. They didn't get there in Game 3. You want to know why they didn't get there in Game 3? Because for the third consecutive game, the Cavs shot under 30% from 3. Now, they did this, and they still won the game by 22 points. That is a great sign. But it also tells me, okay, the Cavs are a team that I think more closely resembles the team that won 64 games this year, right? But it says that, one, they're capable of winning important playoff big games like this one in multiple different ways, because they won this game in a way that maybe wasn't how we have seen them win games throughout this season. We have seen them just bombard threes from beyond the arc and destroy opponents like that. They've not been able to do that in this series. I do think one of the good signs about that is they took 47 threes in this game, and maybe that's a cringeworthy number to some of you. I think that's about where the Cavs want to be, and I thought they did a great job of finding better shots. Like, I thought their shot selection in this game was really strong, the best it's been in the 3 games that they've played so far. So I thought that was good sign number 1. But Donovan Mitchell, man, I continue to be so blown away by what we're watching from him. And if you listen to the Instant Reaction podcast, which was recorded right behind me, if you're watching, I think you can see Tony East right now doing Locked On Pacers over my shoulder. But that's where we recorded the Locked On Cavs Pacers crossover instant analysis. I talked about like what Donovan Mitchell's peak might look like. And I think he's somebody that is very aware of the fact that he's not ever been to the conference finals. And obviously winning a championship is the thing that is front and center for him in terms of goals. And I just think that you're seeing that on display. In watching what he did in Game 2, and I do not say this lightly at all, but in watching what he did in Game 2, I couldn't help but sit there and think back at Rocket Arena in Cleveland. And this is a LeBron game. Like, this is something that we have seen LeBron do in this uniform when the Cavs needed it the most. And I felt the same way about this game. Donovan didn't need to carry as heavy as a load in this game because Darius Garland was back, because Evan Mobley was back, because they hit a few more threes. Like, the load wasn't as tough for him to do, but he was everything the Cavs needed. He scored 43 points, hit 5 threes, which might be the best sign about his game, is that he hit 5 threes, and that is something that has not been going his way. He entered tonight 2 for 18 from beyond the arc in the first 2 games, which is remarkable considering that he has only hit 7 threes in this series and he's averaging 41 points a game through 3 games. Like, he has just taken his game to a new level. I don't think we've ever seen Donovan Mitchell play better basketball than what he's doing right now. He's doing it, fighting through, I think, very clearly, although I don't think it was necessarily as evident tonight. A calf injury. Like, that is something that I don't know how long that's going to linger, but he, I think, has taken his game to another level. And it's not just the scoring. It's one, and we have talked about this a bunch all year long. It is the sense of the moment that Donovan just seems to have, where he knows when it's time to put the team on his back. And I think he's had a relatively good sense of that throughout his tenure in Cleveland. But I think that it has gone to a new level this year. And I think you're seeing that in this series. I think you saw that in Game 3 on Friday night. But it's not just, oh, I have to put the team on my back. I have to go score a bunch of points, which we know, like, Donovan did not need to come out in this game and score 43 points to prove to the world, like, oh, yeah, I'm a bucket. Everybody knew that. It's the other stuff that he did. It's, I think, the leadership, which is really important. And I'm going to, at some point on this show, talk about the offensive rebounding, because the Cavs had 18 offensive rebounds, which meant they ultimately took 20 more shots than the Pacers did, which is a really big deal, something the possession battle Kenny Atkinson speaks about very frequently. You know who was tied for the team lead in offensive rebounds? Donovan Mitchell was. Like, that is the type of thing that I actually think does a little bit more justice to just how masterful he was in this game. When the Cavs needed a rebound, he went and got it. He had 9 of them. He had 43 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, only 2 turnovers. When Darius Garland played, and I will talk about the 3 injured guys in a minute, but did not look like himself. But the fact that he played, I do think, was a big boost. Ty Jerome was not very good again. The Cavs needed a scoring punch. They needed Donovan Mitchell to be this guy, but they needed him to rebound. They needed him to play defense. They needed him to do every single thing that he did. And I think that this game was the most important he's played in a Cavs uniform. I said that about Game 2. It was true about Game 2. It was true about Game 3, and it will be true on Sunday about Game 4. It's just like, kind of as we move further along in this series, these become more and more and more important for not just the team, but I think Donovan Mitchell as an individual player. And I think that he's meeting that moment in a really cool way. I think it's really cool to watch him go through what he went through in the regular season, having his minutes cut down so he could be ready for the postseason. And truthfully, at this point, dealing with a little bit of postseason adversity, being down 2-0 in a series when you lose 2 games at home, that qualifies as adversity. Only 5 teams have come back from that in NBA history. And the Cavs, and I guess the Celtics too, on the other side of the Eastern Conference bracket, are trying to make it 6 and potentially 7. But this was a big step forward in making that happen. If the Cavs lose this game, the season would have been over. They were not going to come back from down 3-0. And I still don't know if they're going to win this series. I think you should certainly feel much, much better about their chances after Game 3 than you did before Game 3, but I don't think that's some wild take to toss out there. I think everybody kind of knew that, you know, if you win Game 3 and you give yourself a chance at 2-1, you feel much better. I think Game 4 is kind of going to be who wins Game 4 might be the team that ultimately wins this series. But if you're the Cavs and you've got this version of Donovan Mitchell, who is a superstar in every sense of the word, who has, I think, and this is a different topic for a different show on a different day, I think has cemented himself as the second best player in Cavs history, just does everything that it takes to win. Donovan Mitchell continues to show not only that he's a great basketball player, but that he's a winner. And that matters in moments like these. The Cavs don't have a chance at pulling this off without Donovan Mitchell. Not necessarily because of the scoring, but because of everything that he means to this team. The leadership, the fact that he's willing to be the guy that has all the pressure on him. There was pressure, of course, on the injured guys to play, and there's pressure on the entire team. But there's nobody on this roster that has more pressure on them than Donovan Mitchell. And I don't think that is up for discussion. And he just continuously meets the moment. The Cavs needed this. And Kenny Atkinson said, this was not a must-win game. Donovan Mitchell said, this was a must-win game. and he treated it as such. He was awesome throughout. He did everything the Cavs needed. And because of that, they're back in this series. The Cavs have hope. The Cavs have a chance, a legitimate chance, and I've not yet pulled up the numbers on FanDuel to see what the betting odds necessarily are for this series, but I think they have to feel really good about where they're at right now in this series, and they have Donovan Mitchell to thank for that. And I think that is one of the best things to come out of this. Now, how exactly did the Cavs win on Friday night? It all changed in the second quarter. We're going to talk about the 3-2 zone. Yeah, that's right. We're talking zone defense right here on Locked On Cavs. Thank you again for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. And you should also be making DoorDash one of your priorities, because right now, NBA fans, you know what time it is. Playoff season, and that means big performances and even bigger rewards, because DoorDash is bringing the heat with a slam dunk deal for Dash Pass members during the 2025 NBA playoffs. It's called They Swoosh, You Score. Anytime a player drops 50 or more points, Donovan Mitchell didn't quite do that, but he came close, both in Game 2 and Game 3. In a playoff game, Dash Pass members score a free 3-piece crispy tender combo from Wingstop the very next day. Just place an order of $20 or more and use the code WINGSTOP50 at checkout. That is WINGSTOP50 at checkout, and that combo is yours. Crispy, delicious, and best part, totally free. Offer valid noon to midnight the day after the game. Terms do apply. Again, sign up for Dash Pass to unlock this and more exclusive deals all season long. When any player scores 50 or more in a playoff game, members of Dash Pass can grab a free 3-piece crispy tender combo from Wingstop the next day with a $20 or more order and code WINGSTOP50. That is Dash Pass. Your order, more savings, more flavor, and more ways to win. Terms do apply. Today's show also brought to you by Epicor. Every team knows the value of hard work, of taking pride in what you build, and practicing every detail to get the best results. But no one player, no matter how amazing, can do it all alone. Working together makes getting the win easier. And at Epicor, the All-Stars are the hardworking manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver the things we all need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices. Epicor ERP solutions are created by industry experts to help make every day easier. Seeing your whole supply chain is easier. Managing logistics is easier. Responding to price changes is easier. From small businesses with big dreams to growing enterprises with a global vision, Epicor will equip you with the right tools to move forward, think ahead, and lead the way. Because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most out of every hardworking minute. Easier doesn't cut corners. Easier takes the lead. Discover your success at easierwithepicor.com. That is easierwithepicor.com. Thank you again for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. Like I said earlier, you can find the show anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Make sure you drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Be a friend. Tell a friend about Locked On Cavs. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure a friend is subscribed as well. So the Cavs got off to a great start in this game. They scored the first 11 points. The Pacers did not make their first shot until 6 minutes and 41 seconds left in the first quarter, when Miles Turner splashed a 3 from, I will call it, the left wing. And the Cavs, at one point in the first quarter, built a 15-point lead. And then they had a catastrophic final 5 minutes and 25 seconds where they were outscored 22-7 and were tied at 32. So that was not great. But then Kenny Atkinson had a trick up his sleeve. And that trick was zone defense. They went to it. I don't believe it was on the first possession of the second quarter. I think it was like the second or third possession. I put in my notes like around the 11-minute mark is when the Cavs went to this zone defense. And you'll hear that and say, oh, well, that's not a big deal. We saw the Cavs play zone defense all the time this year. And you'd be right. We did see the Cavs play zone defense all the time. But this was a different zone. They didn't play the normal 2-3 zone that we have seen give teams fits, like during the regular season. And I do think it's a difficult thing to prepare for on just like a random Tuesday night in February. But we have seen teams that just like kind of lose their minds playing basketball. They forget the purpose of the game when going against that zone defense. That's not what the Cavs did. The Cavs went to a 3-2 zone defense. And if you don't know the difference, a 3-2 zone defense has 3 guys up top, basically foul line extended, free throw line extended, or, you can extend it out a little bit. A 2-3 has 2 guys, free throw line extended, and 3 guys near the basket. So if you think back to Evan Mobley's rookie year. The Cavs had him. They had Jared Allen. They had Lauri Markkanen on the roster. JB Bickerstaff was the head coach. And one of the things that really excited the Cavs and the Cavs fans about Evan Mobley was watching him play in the, I don't know if it was technically a 3-2 zone or like a 1-2-2 type zone, but you would see him play out on the perimeter as like the head of the snake in this zone defense. And it just caused so much havoc for opponents. And this wasn't the same as that, but it was similar to that. Like I had flashbacks of watching the Cavs under JB Bickerstaff when that zone would work in this game. Evan played at the top of the key in this zone, and the Pacers had no idea what to do. They could not solve this zone. In the second quarter, the Cavs outscored Indiana 34-13. 34-13. They outscored the Pacers by 21 points. In the second quarter, the Pacers went 5 of 22 shooting. That is 22% for those of you scoring at home. 0 of 11 on 3. Now, some of those, good looks, because in the zone defense, especially a 3-2, sometimes you're going to surrender some corner threes that are good looks. The Pacers could not capitalize on them. Not all of them were good looks. Some of them were bad looks that the Cavs were very happy to give up. But some of them were good looks, and the Pacers missed, and that happens in a make-or-miss league. But the Cavs had Indiana flummoxed. Like, this was the point in the game where it's like, you know what? This was a great coaching move by Kenny Atkinson. This is one of the best things that he did in this series so far. And the Cavs couldn't do it without Evan Mobley. And to a lesser extent, DeAndre Hunter, too, because they went back to it at other points in this game where Hunter was playing in the spot Mobley played in the second quarter, where he was up at the top of the key. I didn't think it was as effective in those spurts. It was more effective with Evan Mobley doing that, which, like, surprise, surprise, the defensive player of the year, great at defense, shocking stuff, I know. But the Pacers couldn't figure it out. They could not solve this zone. The Cavs didn't play it on every possession in the second quarter, but they played it on most of them. And I am sure that the Pacers are going to practice tomorrow, and they're going to put in a bunch of stuff to try and stop this, and we'll see how much the Cavs go back to this in Game 4 on Sunday. But overall, I thought that this really spoke to the impact Evan Mobley had. Because you look at his box score, and he played 35 minutes, which I think is a great sign on an ankle sprain. I thought he moved around really, really well. He, after the game, said he was in a walking boot the day after the sprain. So the sprain was on Sunday in Game 1. So to go from being in a walking boot on Monday to not playing on Tuesday, he said he wanted to try and play, but he just could not play. And saw him after the game on Tuesday, like he was still limping at that point. To Friday, having the impact on the game that he had on the game is remarkable. And he has historically in his career healed quickly from injuries. Like I do remember he had an elbow injury. I think it was in his rookie year. And like he was supposed to be out 4 to 6 weeks. He's back in like 2.5. So he has healed quickly. But I look at his box score tonight, and it is remarkable what he was able to do coming off of an ankle sprain that had him in a walking boot earlier this week. But I also don't know that it does justice for just how good he was, particularly defensively. So Mobley in 35 minutes had 18 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. Like he was an assist, 2 steals, and 2 blocks away from a 5-by-5 game coming off of an ankle sprain. He was, I thought, defensively such a game changer. Like if you ever wonder, hey, why was Evan Mobley voted Defensive Player of the Year? Go watch him play in this game. The Pacers looked so much different offensively when he was on the floor. It's almost as if he can be in 2 places at once. Like that is how good his instincts are. Obviously, his length is incredible. What he was able to do defensively, not only in that zone, but also around the rim. I mean, the 3 blocks he had were awesome. He had one of Tyrese Haliburton that was fantastic. And I will talk about, the job. I want to talk about the job Max Strus did on Tyrese Haliburton too, because Max was, Donovan was the best player in this game, I think by a wide margin. I thought Evan was great. I thought Jared Allen had a great game. I thought that Max Strus was probably the 3rd best player in this game. He had 20 points. He had 4 threes, which, again, the Cavs needed. 7 boards, 7 assists. But he defended Tyrese Haliburton, and that's the most important thing he did in this game. The scoring's nice, and, the last 3 he hit was certainly a big one in the fourth quarter to put the Cavs back up by 17. But Tyrese had the stat that says how good Max Strus played in this game was in 30 minutes. Tyrese Haliburton scored 4 points, 2 of 8 shooting, 5 assists, 3 turnovers. Now, Tyrese Haliburton is an extremely low turnover guy. He does not turn the basketball over very frequently. For him to, in a playoff game, have more turnovers than made baskets really speaks to how good Max was in this. He was absolutely fantastic. And what we saw when the Cavs were not playing zone, we saw 2 different effective styles of defense in this game. The zone, which I just detailed, and then the Cavs kind of brought back what they did against Miami. Remember in game 3, we got to Miami and, Tyler Hero said, I'm going to have something after Darius Garland was talking about how the Cavs were picking on Tyler Hero. So the Cavs decide to top lock him with Max Strus, where basically Max and Tyler had a staring contest for however many minutes Tyler Hero played in that game. It wasn't quite the same because Tyler Hero and Tyrese Haliburton are very different players. Like, they're just not the same guy, so it's not quite the same. But the Cavs tried a very similar strategy, and it worked. They were able to keep the ball out of Tyrese Haliburton's hands, and that, to me, is one of the most important things they can do. This is so silly to say even out loud, but if this is who Tyrese Haliburton is going to be the rest of the series, and I do not expect him to be this for the rest of the series, the Cavs are going to win the next 3 games because the Pacers cannot win with Tyrese Haliburton being as bad as he was tonight. And the Cavs, I think, deserve a lot of credit. I'm sure Tyrese will be better, and that will matter, certainly. But Tyrese took 8 shots. Pascal Siakam led the Pacers with 14 shots. Andrew Nembhard took 9 shots. Benedict Mathurin took 11 shots. TJ McConnell took 9 shots. So that means Tyrese Haliburton's 8 shots were 5th on the team. When he is 5th on the team in field goal attempts behind somebody like TJ McConnell, while only having 5 assists, that tells you the Cavs did a great job defensively on him. I think Evan deserves a lot of credit for the way they were able to operate the zone. I think Max and Dean, they deserve a ton of credit for the way the Cavs were able to shut down Tyrese Haliburton. Now, I mentioned earlier, game 4 is going to be a big one right here. We're going to talk about what we need to see, what is transferable from this one, and how I think this series has changed because of game 3. We're going to do that next right here on Locked On Cavs. Today's show brought to you by Amazon Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV? Also an Xbox. Pretty cool, right? Just turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25, my personal favorite. I don't have time to play on the road right now. I'm so busy with this stuff. I miss my online dynasty. I do. I miss my online dynasty in EA Sports College Football. And part of the reason I can't play is because I don't have enough time. But if you're on the road and you do have the time, the way to do it is just like this. You can stream your favorite shows, and it's gaming made simple. It's all on your Fire TV. What you need to do, if you want to be unlike me and not miss your favorite video game, head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd generation, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd generation, and Fire TV Cube 3rd generation. Thank you again for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. And if you're watching the show on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button for me, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked On Cavs content, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Game 4 is a big one. I think Game 4 is going to decide the series. I believe, as of right now, it is 1:26 in the morning, Saturday, May 10th. I believe the winner of Game 4 will win this series. I think that the Cavs have a great opportunity. I think the Cavs have figured some things out. I think the Cavs should probably be up 2-1 in this series, and things would feel much different than they do as opposed to being down 2-1. But I do think that with the health being back. And listen, Darius Garland only played 25 minutes tonight. Part of that was because of foul trouble. He had 4 fouls in the first half. He was not moving the way he usually is able to move. There were times he was laboring to get up and down the floor, but he took a lot of pressure just by being out there off of Donovan Mitchell. Ty Jerome was not very good again tonight. I don't know. Maybe they win just because of what they were able to do defensively without Darius Garland, but I don't know if they win without Darius Garland. That might sound a little crazy considering he had 10 points and 3 assists, 4 turnovers with 3 of 11 shooting. Like, he was not nearly his best self in this game, but he took pressure off Donovan Mitchell by having a second ball handler out there, by having somebody else that can create offense. Like, that was, to me, a really good thing. And having him potentially getting another day of rest in between on Saturday before game 4, that could be a big thing. Having Evan Mobley, like, I don't think there's anything to worry about unless I missed something with Evan Mobley's health. He was moving around fine after the game. I thought he looked great in this game. DeAndre Hunter, I thought you could tell he was playing with a thumb injury. He was 2 of 6. There was a pass or a rebound that you couldn't quite grasp. Like, I thought you could tell with DeAndre and with Darius that those were 2 guys very clearly toughing it out. But having the health back, having the roster available, the Cavs are, I don't want to be like, oh, the Cavs are back, because I thought they played well enough to win in game 2, and they thought that too. But they looked so much more like the Cavs. And I think they should be very confident going into game 4 because they are the better team in this series. They won 64 games. They have the better players. They are the better teams. The ball didn't bounce their way in the first 2 games, but they are the better team. But game 4 is the one that is going to decide this series. So as I pull this up on FanDuel, of course, FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, where you should be going. Again, 1:30 in the morning, Saturday, May 10th. The Cavs to win this series are back to minus money. They are back to being favored to win this series at minus 156. If they win game 4 on Sunday, that will change pretty drastically. I think they'll kind of be back to their pre-series odds, if you will. They are also favored in game 4. As of right now, they are 5-point favorites in game 4 on Sunday. I think the series changed. I think the Cavs have figured some things out. Of course, the Pacers are a very well-coached team. They're a very good team. They are going to try and figure out counters to what the Cavs have done to find success against them in games 2 and games 3. But the Cavs controlled this game. I think the Cavs have controlled most of this series. I think if you simulate this series, like if you simulate the first 3 games of this series, all of them 10 times, I think the Cavs are up 3-0 in the series more frequently than they're down 2-1 in the series. But that's not the reality we live in. The zone defense is going to be something. We know what Donovan Mitchell can provide. I think Evan Mobley is going to continue to be great. Jarrett Allen, the Pacers don't have an answer for him either. Like, I could talk more about the offensive rebounding and the fact that the Cavs had 31 second chance points on 20 shots off of second chances. That's incredible. Like, that is a great place for them to be. And I think that they have, and I felt this way before the series. The Pacers were going to prevent problems for the Cavs, and the Cavs were going to prevent problems for the Pacers. I just think that the Cavs have more answers to those problems. Now, they have to go out and do it. They have to go win game 4. If they don't win game 4, you don't feel good about them coming back from down 3-1 in this series against a very good team in the Pacers. But if they win game 4, I think you feel really good about them finding a way to win 2 more games in this series, especially with 2 of them at home. So that's where things are at. And then the one other thing that I think should give you a lot of confidence that the Cavs are going to be able to get this done is the shooting's still not back. In this game, in this series, they've played 3 games. They have not shot 30% from 3-point range. Not in any of the games. They shot 29.8%, 14 of 47 from beyond the arc in this game. That is not good enough. Obviously, it was good enough tonight. But at some point, that's going to go back to what it was. I hate saying regress to the mean because it's positive and regression sounds negative, but that's basically what it's going to do. I don't know if they're going to get back to being like, oh, we're going to shoot 65% from 3 and be a 40% shooting team for the series again. I think that ship probably has sailed, but I do think there's going to be a game in this series where they shoot like 45% on threes. And I think they figured something out offensively. And I'm going to be very curious to go back and watch this. but I think they have figured something out offensively with the types of shots they're getting. Because earlier in this series, if you go back to what their shot diet looked like in game 1, it wasn't just that they didn't shoot the ball well. It was that they didn't generate a ton of threes. They took 38 threes. In game 2, again, did not shoot the ball well, but they also only took 39 threes. 47 is about where I think they should be. And if they can be in that number, they're going to have a game where they hit 21 of these. And that game's not going to be close. I don't know if it's going to be game 4. If it does, the Cavs are going to feel really good about themselves. But the shooting is going to come back. The fact that it hasn't yet, and you should feel this good about the Cavs, I think is one of the best things that we can say coming out of game 3. So again, Cavs win game 3, 126-104. Donovan Mitchell, 43 points, 9 boards, 5 assists. Max Strus had 20 points. Jarrett Allen had 19 points. Evan Mobley had 18 points, 13 boards, 4 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. He was incredible. The Cavs should feel really good about where they're at. If they win on Sunday, they're going to feel great. But they gave themselves hope with a much-needed win in a very impressive manner here in Indianapolis. I will be back after Sunday's game talking to you about everything that happened Sunday right here at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. So thank you again for making Locked on Cavs your first listen today and every day. Like I said earlier, you can find the show anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Be a friend. Tell a friend about Locked on Cavs. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure a friend is subscribed as well. And if you're watching the show on YouTube as we get out of here, do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button for me. Click subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And I'll be back a little bit later talking more about the Cleveland Cavaliers.